let's start by bringing our feedback to 0 and then go in the positive direction. And then let's start creating a second mix. So I'm going to bring this up a little bit. Let's actually bring in the negative component of the 3328. Bring a nice flangey type sound. Let's bring up the positive component of 2790. Maybe a little negative of the 1726. A little positive of the 1194. Maybe a little negative of the 662. And that brings us back to 396 where we started. So now we have a second completely different mix. Let's go and bring the feedback up a little bit. Very interesting sound there. It's one thing I didn't really mention, although I did mention it in the other demonstration, was that the feedback can go all the way into self-oscillation, which is what you heard there. So if I bring it all the way over here, you can hear it kind of self-oscillating. Distorted, kind of crunchy sound. But you can actually use that as a creative type effect. Let's adjust our delay clock a little. Tweak our mix. And we just kind of adjust it to taste. I think right there's a nice little region that I kind of like. Let's go all the way into the negative feedback range. A little more muted, kind of subdued. Almost like in a muffled room or something like that. Let's bring feedback in the negative direction up a little more. So, combining multiple types of stages together and then outputting to a mix. I think you got the basic idea of that. So, now let's go ahead, and since we have original signal in mix 2, let's go ahead and create a second mix to go along with this one. So, let's bring this up to BBD signal, and then we'll start adjusting our BBD settings on the second mix going out output 2. Let's bring this up a little. Maybe the negative component of 662. Let's actually do the opposite. So this one has the positive. Let's do the negative there. This has the negative. Let's do a little more positive. This one has positive. Let's do a little negative. This one has positive. Let's do negative. This one has negative. Let's do positive. This one has all the way negative. Let's do all the way positive. So now we have two separate mixes of BBD signal going out to our mixer. Let's bring our feedback to 0. And then maybe adjust our delay clock. A little more subdued. But definitely some interesting effects to be had nonetheless. I can bring my BBD up a little bit. Mix on output 2. Okay. So there we have, for the most part, just affected signal coming out of both of our outputs as a mix. I can bring up my positive feedback if I want to a little bit. And I want to be careful with the feedback because I don't want to overdrive my recording here. Bring down my input a little. Let's go feedback all the way up. Why not? Bring it back to 0. Let's go in the negative direction. You got the idea. Let's bring back some original. Now let's do the opposite. Bring affected on mix 2, original on mix 1. And right there we just get a basic flanging effect. So, very, very interesting sounds to be had with two separate mixes. Let's do one more shot at the two independent mixes. And then we'll move into our next segment where we're going to look a little bit at modulation as well as another patch as well. So we're back to original. Let's bring our feedback down. Let's bring our delay clock at around 5 because that's kind of where I was very happy with it. So now we have our two original signals being fed out. Let's start a mix. Let's just kind of go a little bit random. So I'm going to go here a little bit, here a little bit, a little crisscross. Bring in my BBD signal on mix 1, and then we'll just kind of all the way to the max, all the way to the max, 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 max. Bring in BBD. There we go. So we have one channel that's kind of more subtly processed and another one that's a little more extremely processed. So this is going to help us produce different effects. That's what it's all about. Let's bring a little bit of positive feedback in. I may want to back off on this one a little bit because I think it's distorting. Alright. Let's bring our delay clock down a little. Tons and tons of possibilities of mixes here. For the most part, we've just been kind of doing demonstrations of these kind of sequenced notes at a certain rate, for the most part fixed. That's only out of choice, my choice. Let me slow it down a little bit so you can hear what it sounds like a little slower. So, subtly different, going a little bit slower notes, a little more spooky, if you want to think of it that way. I could probably go a little slower than that. So you get the idea, going a little bit slower here. And adjust my feedback in the negative direction. My clock down a little slower than that. Okay. So I think you're getting the idea now. of what the possibilities of this module are. And this is just kind of going through stages, creating mixes of the various stages, and then outputting them to your favorite mixer or recording device. In the next segment coming up, we're going to take a look at, I'm going to actually unpatch this, and then we hear just our clock noise. But if I wanted to turn that off, I could just bring my delay clock all the way to the top. So in the next one, what we're going to do is I'm going to change the configuration of some of these modules a little bit, and we're going to actually look at a different patch and maybe even go into a little bit of modulation. So please stay tuned for that. I hope you found this one useful and the preceding ones as well. Keep on patching, and we'll see you shortly.